the commercial 8-quart mixer, but this also pertains to the 7-quart Pro line machine and the Pro 6000 HD as well. Any of these machines that have the 1.3 horsepower DC motors. And what I want to focus on today in specific is the complete rebuild of these machines. Yes, for less than half of the cost of replacing these, we can make them brand spanking new. Now, these 7 and 8 quart machines, they're designed for commercial use. So you're gonna see a lot of restaurants and bakeries, home cooks as well, but a lot of commercial use for these machines. And you know, when you're running a business, margins can be pretty thin, especially in the baking and the cooking world. So we're gonna help you restore these machines at a very reasonable price. Now you may be thinking, well, I think maybe I'll just replace my machine. Well, I have an answer for that. So rebuilding your machine, it's really easy, as I'm about to show you, and it's gonna be less than half the price of replacing these 8-quart machines. Now the 7-quart machines, the 7-quart Pro lines, you cannot get them anymore. They no longer make them. They came out with a new version, the KSM 70, and it's a 7-quart machine. It's an AC motor, and it really just doesn't hold up like these DC machines. They're gonna last a lot longer. They're gonna perform a lot better. So if you replace your machine, you're gonna be doing yourself a disservice. Now, let's get started with this rebuild. I'm gonna show you just how easy it is. Now, before we get started, here's a brief word from our sponsors. That's right, it's me, Mr. Mixer. Nobody wants to sponsor us. So if you're looking for any parts or accessories to fix your mixer, visit our website, mrmixer.store. We have everything you need, including but not limited to our 7 and 8 quart full rebuild kit for the video that we're doing today. All right, so let's get started here. Yeah, we have people send these to us from all over the US to perform this service, but this service is absolutely doable at home. We're gonna start by removing this back screw right here on the back cap. Now, once this screw is out of place, this band is just gonna come and it's just gonna pop right off of the machine just like that. We're gonna take this machine, we're gonna turn it to its side. Now, there are gonna be 2 screws here, and then if we turn it around, there's gonna be 2 screws in the exact same place on the other side. Let's just go ahead and remove those. Okay, so we have the band off. We have all 4 of those screws out. This head is just going to lift right off of the machine, just like that. All right, let's take a little look at the system we have here. So this is the transmission and the motor. This comes as a package unit. You get this whole unit. You cannot buy individual gears for this motor. You have to replace this entire thing. Now this right here, this is the speed control board, and then you just really have the planetary system down here. That's the majority of the machine. There's nothing crazy going on in here. Now, I went ahead and plugged this machine in because I want to show you some of the issues that they may face, which would indicate that you probably need to do a full rebuild on it. And that is going to be, let's just go ahead, we'll start this machine, take a look. It's going to start, but when we start switching speeds, it just shuts off. Now, sometimes they won't start at all, and you'll just hear a click. And if you hear that click, that's telling you that this speed board is just not working properly. And a lot of times that happens when the motor is seized up. So right here we have the fan. If you cannot free spin this by hand, if it's jammed up, that means that the gears in there are definitely damaged. Everything is seized up. It just needs to be replaced. And if you're having inconsistencies with the speed boards here, it's powering down, it's not wanting to change speeds, it immediately goes on to high speed right when you turn it on, that is an indication of failed components, the board or the motor or a combination of both. Now, let me tell you the benefits of doing the full rebuild here. So it basically guarantees that you're going to have a brand new running machine. If you just start throwing darts at the machine and just replacing parts here and there, you're going to have a lot of downtime. And when you have a machine that's down, it's actually costing you money, well, because it's not doing the work that it's supposed to be doing. Extended downtime of a machine is no good for anybody, but if you do the full rebuild, it just guarantees that your machine is going to be brand new. It's going to last another decade, and you're just not going to have to deal with other parts failing, right? You replace one part, but you don't replace the other. Well, then the other part fails. Now you're out of commission again. Do it all at once. Do it right. All right, enough commentary. Let's get to work. We need to start by removing this planetary right here. Now, if you notice, there is a pin right there. That pin needs to be driven out. So we're gonna take a punch and a hammer, and we're gonna knock that out of place. Just like that. Now, as you punch out that pin, you wanna keep a hand up here, well, because these have a tendency to just fall away. They're kind of heavy. You don't want them to damage the base paint of your machine. Also, take a look at all that crud that was in there. Don't worry, a new planetary is part of the kit. With that planetary out of place, it is now time to work to remove this motor. So if we take a look right here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 on the other side as well, for a total of 8 mounting screws that mount this motor into place. Now, making sure your machine is unplugged, and before we take out the screws, there are 2 clips. There's one right here, which is the hall sensor, and there's one right here, which is the power supply. We want to remove these. Now let's start with the hall sensor here. There's a little, if you see right there, there's a little button that you can press. And if you just press that in with your finger, you can wiggle that up and out of place. And then moving over to the power wire here, it's just a standard electrical clip. There's also just a little button, a little tab that you can press right there. Some of these come out pretty easy. You can just kind of do it with your thumb like that. And some of them, they're kind of stuck in place. You might need to take a screwdriver or something to help you engage that little nub in there to pull it out of place. On to the motor mounting screws. Now you see how these ones sit on a little ledge and these ones don't? You want to remove the ones that sit on the little ledges first. Let's go ahead and do that. Now again, that's going to be this one on the front here, and then also this one in the back middle. Now, as we go to remove the other side, make sure to keep a hand down here because, well, there's what's called a ring gear. And as we unscrew these screws, that is going to fall out of place right into our hand. Just like that. And now we can just work to remove these last 4 screws mounting this thing in place. Now, once all of those screws are out, this motor is just ready to be pulled up and out of place. Now, with that motor out of place, it is now time to work on this board. Guys, we're like halfway there already. There's a screw here and a screw right here. We need to go ahead and remove those 2 screws, which is going to allow us to lift the board out of place. Just like that, it couldn't be more simple. Now, on the back side of this board, coming from the power cord right here is a clip. It's just got a little button that you can press right there, so just go ahead and engage that, and then just remove that clip. Okay, seriously, congratulations, you are halfway there. It really is that simple. Let's take a look. There are a few things that we want to tend to here before we go throwing the new motor and board back into place. We do want to make sure that these screws right here, those 3 screws, make sure that those are nice and tight. Now, these are just a Phillips 2 screwdriver, and again, you just want to tighten those as tight as you can get them. And once you make sure that those are tight, there are also a few other points of interest. Right there, we have an alignment pin, and we have one on the same spot on the other side as well, right there. We're gonna go ahead and give those a little tap, tap, tap-a-roo here. You hear that bottom out? Listen to the first couple hits. You'll hear that it's soft, and then you'll hear it bottom out. Now let's take a look at those again. Now it wasn't much, but maybe it was just a 1/16 of an inch, but you can tell that we have tapped it down a little bit further. And there is a reason that we did that. So you know that those screws that we tightened, right? Well, those will actually come loose. If those pins like to drift up out of place, which means that they're no longer aligned with the neck right here, which then all of the stress then goes from the pins to these screws. They loosen up, and then this whole head gets really sloppy. It'll bounce up and down, it'll move side to side, which just thrashes the whole system. So we just want to make sure that those pins are in place. All right, moving to my giant wall of parts, we have to come get all of the supplies to finish rebuilding that thing. So we're gonna grab ourselves a chrome planetary, a DC motor, and by odds and ends, I mean everything that we took out. So we have the DC motor, we have the ring gear, we have our speed board, we have a new planetary, we even have a cute little thing of grease, and even a new planetary pen. Now I know all too well, after years of love, these things have a tendency to get nice and filthy. Take a look at all the gunk that's hiding in there. Take a moment to go ahead and get your machine cleaned up before we put in all the new components. All right, feast your eyes. This thing is sparkling like a new machine. Let's go ahead and get this put back together. So we're gonna start off by installing our speed board, and on the back side of that, there is that little clip. We need to get the power cord here, and we need to go ahead and just clip this back into place. And that is super simple. We just go ahead, we line that up, and then we just click it down. And once you have that wire in place, we're just gonna go ahead, we're just gonna sit our board back down into place, get the mounting holes lined up here, and then we're gonna take our 2 screws, they're the smaller screws, and we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna screw those into place. Now, once that speed board is in place, it's time to work on the motor, but there are a few things that we want to do. One, you have your Hall sensor here. You want it over on the side that the speed lever is on. And then we'll take this motor. It's got these two little mounting tabs on the bottom. Those mount into that hole and that hole there. So we're just going to take this motor, we're going to drop it down into place, align those mounting bolts just like that, and we're going to put a couple screws in it. So we are just finishing up getting our second screw into here. And before we put the rest of the screws in, we do want to go ahead and test for function, which means that we need to get our clips back into place. So you see our Hall sensor has that little clip. If we take a look at this hole right here where that sits, you can see right there is where that clip sits. So we're going to take this in this orientation here, and we're going to drop it down into that hole. We're going to get it stretched over into place. And once we have it lined up, we're just going to push down. You will hear a click. Now, just to guarantee that it's in place, I do always like to pull just a little bit of tension on there. You can tell that is now seated in place. Now we need to move over to the other side where we're going to work on the power clip. And that's going to go on just as easy as it came off. We're just going to take these two clips, line them up, push them together, and click those into place as well. Again, just pulling a little bit of tension. So we went ahead, we plugged our machine in. We are going to go ahead and we're just going to test this thing for function, make sure that everything's functioning properly. You don't want to put it all together to find out you have to take it apart again. So let's check. You can barely hear it running because these things are so quiet, but yes, it is functioning properly. Sounds like a brand new machine. Now, make sure to go ahead and unplug your machine, and once it's unplugged, we can go ahead and we can put the other two mounting bolts into this motor to mount it into place. All right, take a look. We have our 4 mounting bolts that mount that motor down. Now we need to go ahead and move over to what we call the ring gear here. Now you see, there's these two little notches right here. Well, when you look up at the underside of the motor here, you can see that there are notches on here on the front and on the back. We need to line these notches up with that and just push it up into place. And once we have that up into place, we can go ahead and start screwing that down as well. So keep a hand on it, go ahead and just tighten that down. All right, so we now have all 8 of our motor mounting bolts and our mount to this ring gear here, which means it's time to break out the cutest little tub of grease. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna open this thing up, and we're gonna apply just a little bit of this grease to this ring gear. And this ring gear, it doesn't take a ton of grease, so we're just gonna take some on our finger just like that, and we're just gonna start to fill in the teeth on this gear. Now make sure that you're working all the way around this gear. We want all of the teeth to just have a nice little layer. Now you are definitely not going to use all of this grease. Once that ring gear about looks like that, you can tell we didn't, coat it, but we got a nice little layer in there, making sure that those teeth are gonna be lubricated. And once that's been completed, now we're ready for our planetary. And we just slide this up into place, and then we want to align the pinholes. And once you get those pinholes aligned, you're gonna take your new pin and you can get it started by hand. So we're gonna line those up and you'll feel it just kind of click into place, at which point you can let go of that. Now we need to take a punch and we need to punch that into place. There we go, just like that. Now, once we have that planetary in place, we are gonna test for function one more time. You're just gonna turn it on, make sure that it sounds okay. You might hear a little bit of crackling. That is the grease redistributing right here. So we're just gonna run this up through the speeds, running like a top. All right, we are almost finished with the repair. Just a few little things left to do to stitch this thing together. We need to put our top onto place and then go ahead and take our screws and secure those. And then once all of those are screwed down, now we're just ready to reach our band around here and put a screw into that to secure that into place as well. And just like that, we're finished. This thing is now a brand new machine. It's ready to go to work. It's ready to be abused. Now that concludes the repair, but there are a few little upgrades that I want to talk about. One of them being the Comfy Grip, the other one being our quick install spring and washer. So this right here is called the Comfy Grip. It's gonna fit on any of the machines that have just these bare handles. Never really cared for the bare handle. It's small, it's kind of hard to grab onto, but if we take this Comfy Grip and we just slide it into place, we now have a nice knob to help raise and lower the machine. And then lastly is our quick install spring and washer here. Machines, they no longer come with a spring on this planetary beater shaft right here, and it does make a difference, but this makes it so incredibly easy to acquire a spring and washer. Now this is so incredibly simple, it doesn't require any tools. We're just gonna take this spring, we slide it up over the shaft like that, we split this spring like a key ring, and then we just twist that baby up into place. And once that spring is in place, we're gonna do the exact same thing with our washer here. We'll slide that up. It might be beneficial to get a flat blade screwdriver here just to help twist that around. And then we'll just bend this back up into place just like that. And now we have a brand new spring and washer. And what that's gonna do for us when we put our paddles on here, it's gonna put downward tension on this paddle. Without that spring in place, this paddle can just move up and down a ton. It can leave a lot of room for unincorporated ingredients in the bottom of the bowl, but this spring just drives that down into place, keeps it engaged with the mixture so that you have a perfectly even mix every time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's repair. So what we did is we restored an 8-quart mixer here. Again, remember, this works with the 7-quart Pro lines, the 6000 HD. Any of the machines that have the DC motors, this is gonna be the same repair as you've seen. It's really easy, it's effective, and it's gonna save you a lot in the long run. Now, as always, if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Maybe tell a couple friends. And as always, we'll see you on the next repair.